So you have all those factors set equal to 0. You set each factor equal to 0. And I get -3, 2, -2. If you plug those numbers into the function, if you plug them into the original function, it'll make it 0. Last two. I'm going to pause it for a second to give you some time to work on this quadratic. The thing that makes it more difficult is this leading coefficient. Because it's not 1, you have some work to do. So I'm going to pause it. You work on it for about a minute. All right. So the leading coefficients 1 and 2. So I have, it's prime. It can only be 1 and 2. But 12 is 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So we have a lot of different options. But because 2 is prime, that's where I would start. I would start with an x and a 2x. Now we can, just so you know, the faster you can run through these, I guess, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, these different factors in different order in your head, and you do a bunch of mental math, because I could go 1 and 12, 12 and 1, right? And then you run through all your FOIL methods to see, do I add up to -5? Then you can go 2 and 6, 6 and 2. Maybe it's 3 and 4, 4 and 3. Could be positive, negative, all this stuff's happening. So there are a lot of different ways it can work. It's a big puzzle. But I don't have some magic solution to it. It's just I'm faster and quicker when I do all the different options in my head. And hopefully you'll get to that point too. What's the correct factoring? X minus 3, 2x plus 4?
Nope, other way around.
Plus 3 minus 4, you said? Is that what you said?
2x minus 3 and x plus 4.
Say it again then.
X plus 4.
X plus 4.
2x minus 3.
2x minus 3. So if I look at this, x times 2x gives me the 2x squared. 4 times the -3 gives me a -12. And then in the middle, I have 8x. On the outside, I have -3x.
Oh wait, no, that's the other way. That's
So when you add the 8x and the -3x together, you get 5x. So we got to switch it, right? So I want this to be negative and this to be positive. So now I have positive 3x and negative 8x, and then they'll add up. Now, some of you get a little bit lazy when you do this, and you just go, oh, my answer is 4. Right? You just say, when I set it equal to 0, it's going to be the opposite of what's here. And then a lot of times I get -3 from you guys. But if you set 2x plus 3 equal to 0, subtract the 3, is my x by itself? No, it is not. Divide by 2. So -3/2. So those are your answers. So if you're going to look at the factoring, I don't require that you set them equal to 0. Most of you can just say it's the opposite. But when you have a leading coefficient that's not 1, you have to say subtract 3, divide by 2. One more? Wow. Yeah. All right. So x minus 3 squared equals 36. The first thing we're going to do, Algebra 2, you learned about undoing exponents. That's what they call them. But what's the inverse of squaring? Raising something to the second power, what's the inverse? Square root. So some of you might raise it to the 1/2 power. Some of you might square root. So you can raise both sides to the 1/2 power, or you can square root. I don't care the
Could you say
notation.
X minus 3 twice.
What's that?
You say X minus 3 twice. X minus 3 and X, like write it out.
Yes. No, we're not going to. That's a good question. You could multiply that out, bring the 36 over, then work with the quadratic that way. That would be totally fine. But I'm going to get rid of the squared. So you don't do both of these things. You do it to the 1/2 power or the square root. So I get x minus 3. And the square root of 36 is 6. But you took away an even power. That right now is what we call an even power, which allows for positive or negative to be the exact same thing. When you take away an even power, you need to make sure you put plus or minus back in the problem. So we manually put plus or minus back in. Now, what happens when you add 3?
Well, it's you're either adding it to plus 6 or negative 6.
I will be really upset with you if you ever leave an answer like that. Okay? That is not an answer that you leave plus or minus. Don't make me do the work. You make me do the work, I'm going to take points away for you making me do the work. What's 3 plus 6? What's 3 minus 6? That is much different than when people write x equals like 7 plus or minus the square root of 41. Right? 7 plus or minus the square root of 41 is not a nice number. So that's an exact solution. We're not going to add the square root of 41 to it. We're just leaving a square root of 41. So do you see the difference between that and this? You can do this. My daughter in first grade can do this. She can add 2 numbers together. Okay? So can you. So do it, please. Thank you. Yay!